Today, I will prove to you that the Quran's 1,400-year-old prediction has been confirmed by modern science. When I was in school, I was taught that our brain controls everything about us, our decisions, our emotions, our actions. But what if I told you that's not true? Do you still believe your brain is in charge of your life? What if I told you science has now discovered that the real control center is not your brain, but your heart? And here's the most shocking part. The Quran revealed this truth over 1,400 years ago, long before any scientist could even imagine it. In this video, we will uncover the truth behind this ancient prediction and show how modern science is finally catching up to what was already written in the Quran. We now know that 40,000 neurons, yes, the same type found in your brain, are in your heart, making decisions, sending signals, and even storing memory. Let that sink in. While you've been told your brain is a master, your heart has been pulling the strings all along. And what's even more surprising, the Quran predicted this over 1,400 years ago. Modern science is only now catching up to what was already written. For years, we believed the heart was just a blood-pumping organ, but the Quran said otherwise. It was right there in Surah Al-Hajj where Allah says, "Do they not travel through the land so that their hearts may understand?" 22:46. Hearts understand? That statement went ignored for centuries, and now science is finally realizing its truth. Neurocardiology, a new field of study, has shown that the heart can influence your brain more than your brain influences your heart. The heart actually sends more messages to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So, those desires, those uncontrollable impulses that you've been blaming on your mind, they're being driven by your heart. Researchers like Dr. J. Andrew Armour have even coined the term neurocardiology to describe this shocking discovery. And here's the real question. Why are we only now learning what the Quran has been saying for over a millennium? In Surah Kaf 50:16, Allah says, "We are closer to him than his jugular vein." The jugular vein, the direct connection between the brain and the heart. But Allah says he knows even the secrets of the heart, not just the brain. How many times have you been overwhelmed by your desires, unable to stop yourself from making a bad decision, thinking it was your brain failing you? It wasn't. It was your heart. And this is where it becomes terrifying. The Quran warns that a corrupt heart leads to a corrupt life. In Surah Al-Baqarah 2:10, it says, "In their hearts is a disease, and Allah increases their disease." A diseased heart can drive you into darkness, leading you to make decisions that go against your own well-being. But here's the thing. If you don't understand this now, you'll continue to fall into the same traps. You'll keep making the same mistakes. What you've been ignoring is that the battle for control over your life is not in your mind. It's in your heart. And this is just the beginning. What else could your heart be hiding from you? Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll dive even deeper into how the Quran's warnings align with these groundbreaking scientific discoveries. Now, I truly have a very big and worthy surprise for you, my friend, on this video that could save literally anyone's life. But before I truly want you to listen to this, there was a man named Adam, a brilliant doctor who knew more about the human heart than most of us will ever know. He was fascinated by the science behind the heart's intelligence and stumbled upon the Quran's verses that had been warning about it for centuries. Adam saw the connection between the modern discoveries in neurocardiology and what was written in Surah Kaf and Surah Al-Baqarah. He was determined to purify his heart, change his life, and live by the guidance of the Quran. But here's where things took a dark turn. Adam thought he could outsmart his own heart and fix things slowly, on his own terms. He knew he was emotionally disconnected from his family, caught in the loop of stress, work addiction, and unhealthy desires, but he believed his brain could fix it all. He thought he had time. He thought understanding the science was enough. But the Quran tells us differently. In their hearts is a disease, and Allah increases their disease, 2:10. One day, Adam collapsed in his office, clutching his chest. It was a heart attack. For years, the disease in his heart, spiritually and physically, had been growing, and he never truly paid attention to it. All the while, he believed he had control over his actions. but his heart had been guiding his choices that ultimately led to his destruction. When the doctors tried to save him, it was too late. His heart had failed him, both literally and spiritually. Adam was a very knowledgeable person, but if he knows these 3 Quranic verses, then this will literally save his life. And my dear, it's the time to reveal the biggest surprise ever on YouTube. Here are the 3 Quranic verses that will solve any of your problems and save you from these deadly diseases. Number 1. In Surah Ash-Shura 26:88-89, Allah warns, "The day when neither wealth nor children will benefit, but only one who comes to Allah with a pure heart." Protecting your heart means being vigilant about what you expose it to. The Quran emphasizes how easily the heart can be corrupted by influences around us. In Surah Al-Araf 7:179, it says, "They have hearts with which they do not understand." If your heart is consumed by distractions, desires, or the wrong company, it will lose its ability to see clearly and guide you toward the right path. So, protect yourself from the negativity, anger, jealousy, and lust. Number 2. One of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, ways to protect your heart is through dhikr, or the remembrance of Allah. The Quran repeatedly emphasizes the importance of dhikr as a way to guard your heart. In Surah Ar-Raid 13:28, it says, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." This is not just about repeating phrases mindlessly. It's about deep, intentional remembrance that centers your heart on what truly matters. When you engage in dhikr, you're actively cleansing your heart from the negativity, stress, and emotional toxins that build up throughout the day. It's like a spiritual detox, flushing out the unhealthy emotions and replacing them with peace and clarity. But most of us misunderstood dhikr as a moment of ritual. Absolutely not, my dear. The Prophet Muhammad PBUH said, "The difference between the one who remembers his Lord and the one who does not is like the difference between the living and the dead." Sahih al-Bukhari. Your heart needs constant, daily remembrance of Allah, not just occasional prayer. Number 3. In Surah Al-Imran 3:185, it says, "Every soul shall taste death." Contemplating your mortality isn't morbid. It's a profound way to purify your heart. The Prophet Muhammad PBUH advised his followers to remember death often because it softens the heart and strips away arrogance and greed. When you reflect on death, it puts your desires, anger, and material concerns into perspective. It reminds you that life is fleeting, and the condition of your heart is what will matter most when you stand before Allah. This simple but often neglected practice of reflecting on your mortality acts as a reality check that brings humility, focus, and spiritual clarity to your heart. And my dear friend, this is for today's video. We covered everything, and also it takes a lot of effort to create this kind of video. So, if you truly found this helpful for yourself, then take a moment to subscribe to the channel and comment with your thoughts. We will be back on another video. Bye.